If we could talk about Noah,
Mhm.
what do you think about the event? Where it did happen? If it was on the soul, or if it was only a literal, historical, or if it is a cosmic. Cosmic, I do not. I'm not speaking as something. uh, it is a difficult word, or you think it's a major event that happens to all the people, and it is happening now, maybe to some people. What do you think about these different levels of the happenings?
Thank you for the question. Have you heard, just to start somewhere in the history, have you heard the story of Gilgamesh? Have you heard the story of Gilgamesh?
Yes, Gilgamesh, yes, Upnapskin, and yes, his quest for the immortality. It's one of the ancient histories, Gilgamesh and Enkidu and something like that.
So there is a description on a stone. In Hebrew, they call it Alilat Gilgamesh, the stories of Gilgamesh, and their description of the flood. This is why when people read the story of Gilgamesh on a stone, they equivalent with the Noah story if they want to look at it, let's say, in historical perspective. Also, many archaeologists for generations are looking for evidence under Mount Ararat between Turkey and Iraq to see, uh, to find evidence for, so to speak, Noah Ark. So there are discussions in many levels, but the Bible, or Moses who wrote the Bible, has this interesting perspective. This is also what the Zohar share with us, and also Weinreb shares with us, is that the story of the flood, or the seal of the name with the four generations or the four letters, is happening to each and every soul that comes and being born in this life. Also, Bala Sulam, in the opening uh, of his translation to the book of Zohar, it says Bereshit. Bereshit is the beginning of time. What is Bereshit? When a baby, when a child is being born, time is being born. Time is being borrowed from the infinite to the manifestation, and then we have a life here. So each and every person, when he or she being born as babies, they will start their life in Bereshit, in time and space, in the sixth day of creation, with the Shabbat, with the resting day. And each and every one of those who are being born of us will move through his life those stations, like 10 generations from Adam to Noah, and so on, 10 generations from Noah to Abraham, and from Abraham to Moses, another 6. So we have in total 26 generations, and then shall be a call, and the soul wants to go out of slavery. This is just a general, let's say, frame of thinking. Bala Sulam speaks about this, Weiner speaks about it, of course Luria, of course the Zohar, and the sages as well. First of all, as a frame of thinking, and now I turn to Rodrigo because Rodrigo asked about the historical phase of the story. Rodrigo, can you see this perspective?
Yes, Etsy, I can see it. I can see it.
Good. Now, Fernando, ask your question. Because we set up a frame, now ask questions and we shall take care of them one by one.
I think that Rodrigo can reframe the questions I because I understand very like what you said it, and was beautiful what you just said. Um, but I just you said that each one of us will pass through this experience somehow,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes. True.
So maybe it's very difficult to explain to somebody the experience of the soul, to somebody that didn't have the experience of the soul, maybe.
Maybe,
And
yes, yes, that's true. If a person aware, most,
so,
yes, yes, please continue.
no, please, please, you got it. Yes.
Most of people do not aware that they have a soul. You ask them if they have a soul, they say, I have an ID card, I have a passport, I have an address. What do you want from me? I go to work, I drive my car, and what do you want from me? I play tennis twice a week and so. So most of the people, of the residents of the planet, do not aware that they have a soul. Even if they dream and they remember their dreams, and sometimes they share, because this is a very common thing, even animals, they dream too. Most of the people do not speak about this dimension. Even if they dream, even if they share their dream for a moment, they're being impressed, but they wake up to a daily life and they continue. The interesting thing, and this is what the sages are telling us, once a person notices this encounter with the soul, the encounter with the inner world, with the word of God, with dreams, with music, any kind of communication, what do we do? Do we shift our lives accordingly and align our lives with the cause of causes? Or people continue to work from 8 to 4 until there's something really, really hard is happening and they wake up. So this is the first question, because this is a print. If we are sensitive enough, or if we admit those encounters. By the way, Weinreb has a beautiful book called about, in German, about men and angels. And in this book, he speaks about his encounter with special people in Europe before the war, that he was so impressed from their friendship, from their care, that he writes a book about those people. He calls them angels, like messengers. They appear in human body and so, but his experience or encounter with those people is like they are like messengers or angels on earth in terms of quality. This is one thing. So the first question is, if we have those encounters, do we give them space? Do we let those children or those cherubim, those angels live inside of us, or we expel them and continue to the mechanical way of being here? Most of people, let's say, function on mechanical level. 99.99999%, or even more, living on this level. So when we have those encounters, and each and every one of us has his or her own encounter, when we admit it to ourselves, sometimes we try to share it, sometimes people next to us at certain time do not accept, they think we are, who knows. But the question is, do we accept those encounters and do we walk with them? Do we escort them? Do we take care of them like babies? Because in a way, and excuse me of saying this, when children are being born, babies and being born in hospitals, and so everybody shower, party before the birth, check up at the doctor or so and so, and everybody is preparing for the big day, and so, and there's a big trust, how do you say, trust, a big thing because it's manifested, it's a baby, he's crying, and so you can hold it in your arms, and so there's a lot of respect. But when in a person a new understanding or a new encounter is being born, do we give it the same attention? Because this is no different. Do you understand what I'm saying?
It is perfect what you are saying, and I thank you so much, because we have a tendency to Jung speaks about this as well. He speaks that people says like, this is only psychological, this is only for the psyche. And he speaks, well, the psyche is our soul. You need to have respect for our soul, or you have respect only for the body. And so it is interesting what you are speaking, because it is not easy. Sometimes we make this confusion thinking that the reality is only what we can put in the table, put on the table. So it is quite beautiful what you just said, and I thank you.
This is interesting what you say, because you say reality is what we put on a table. Let's say it's a flower. Let's say maybe it's a book, maybe it's a plate. But a thought that a person has about another person, his friend, or sentiment that a person has for his friend, though they cannot speak or they cannot write, they cannot at the moment, let's say, play together music, but communications are happening in so many levels, and those things, they exist. A person can think of another person, he can dream about another person. This is a communication, this is relation, this is care, this is love. And those things are really subtle, very, very subtle. And sometimes we have relations with friends and we move in life, and people move apartments, move cities, move countries, move into even another realm of existence. They leave their body and they move on. The communication, the sentiment never stops, never cease to exist. So there is no lack at all. Good morning, Connie, Venus, and Felipe. I'm very happy. There is no lack. Just yesterday, this is interesting, I heard a story from Germany. Because of the situation in Europe, certain people frighten certain people that there is not enough gas to warm the winter and save, and they go to the cellar of building and they turn off the heating. There is not enough, they say. They frighten the public in Europe that there is not enough of any kind of warm moments of food. This is, I would say, an expression of people trying to play God, because there's no lack of anything. There's no lack at all. And the communication of the soul brings that in the soul level. And if we take a page or a paper and we write, what is the quality of the soul? Patience, love, care, good mood, softness, support, and so those are the dimensions of the soul. Once we come into encounter with those qualities in us or in other, this is a communication of the soul. Once we come into encounter of judgment, there's not enough, you have to work hard, you have to take mortgage, this is the governance of Pharaoh, of Egypt, of the body and institution, of fear. And to Fernando's question about Noah. And also to Rodrigo.
Thank you, Etty.
Yes, can we see ourselves as a person like Noah who builds himself an ark, inside of himself a space that he can retreat and have a conversation, because this is what the story of Noah is about. Around there's a flood, around us many applications, many media arms, a lot of storm in the news, so to speak, about many topics. It's a flood. It's a flood of information. It confuses people. It takes people out of their mind completely. People sitting in their homes with a TV screen which is in a dimension of a wall. And whatever the screen shows them, and they don't even choose what to see, just the TV is on. And whatever the TV shows, the channel, they consume, they take it as reality. The people on the screen, they are bigger than their dimension. It is something that is hard to believe, and people sit in front of those screens and they stomach it like if it was reality. I would say that what they stomach on screen is nourishing them more than they eat dinner on the table. And people go with this mind to the world. And this is not reality, and this is not a reality of the soul. There is a reality of the soul, but in order to come into encounter with the soul, we have to remove, so to speak, from those monstrous dimensions that what people tell us life is about. The soul is a very loyal friend. The soul is a mirror. And the soul mirrors every moment where we are. Every moment. And in any dimension. In friendship, about plans at home, about the weather, everything. But are we open to receive this communication and to align with the spirit that comes with it? This is the question. Questions, Fernando, Rodrigo, Felipe, Venus, Amos, Connie?
Etty,
Yes.
regarding what we are talking about, the voice of the soul, the experience of the soul, I must confess that I have a lot of difficulties to identify this voice or this experience inside me. And there is a tendency of, how can I say, think that this voice could be just my imagination. And what is the difference of real experience of the soul or of this invisible world and just my imagination?
Thank you for the question. Who would like to answer the question? What is the difference between a person's own voice and the voice of the soul? What is the difference? What kind of a communication comes from the soul, and what kind of a communication comes from the man's mind, the mattery mind? What is the difference?
Uh, it is it is difficult to answer what is the difference, but it is interesting that if you do not listen to the voice of the soul, uh, it becomes your fate, you know. Like the man that, like the one who is restless, let's say, you know, this one who just works without rest, workaholic that people thinks that is a virtue, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And his soul sometimes is screaming to stop and to rest and to go to the nature. This is the voice of the soul, but the man do not listen to it, and sometimes he break his leg or he crash his car or something happens in the world, because this voice need to be listened, need to be heard, you know. So it is not an imagination. It is not something, you know, uh, just just as people think, it is just an imagination. No, it is the reality. It is interesting because when we think about sickness, it is easier to see this. It is we can imagine someone who is with depression, and you're gonna speak to this person like speaking, oh, it is just your imagination, you know. You have a house, you have a
Mm-hmm.
family, you need to be happy. It is not nothing. This is complete nonsense, right? You never gonna talk to somebody on this way. So I think that the voice of the soul is a reality for itself, and we know when it is just an imagination, something that is also the voice of the soul, but it is something maybe polluted, you know, something that is mixed. I don't know. Don't know it. Just some ideas.
It is excellent because, give you an example today. I made something with an apple. I took certain plate and it did not fit, and the soul is sending, because the speech of the soul is very transparent. It is suggestive. It's not enforcement. So the first plate that I took, I felt it does not fit the dimension of the situation, and the soul, in her way, because my hand already, there was like transparent glass and like a copal or something white. I took the white, and the soul said in very transparent speech, there's a glass, a bowl that fits better. Not even that fits better, but there's an option, a glass bowl. So the hand is taking, this is very interesting. The hand is taking something which is, so to speak, random. Your experience in the kitchen is that doesn't fit to what you need. And at the same moment comes a thought, very transparent, silent, and says, it's interesting because when things are not fitting, this is a speech. And immediately comes an answer from the soul. There's another glass bowl, this is for it. Or the speech of the soul is very transparent. It's never oppressing. It's never by force. It's always suggesting. Once we were in Vienna before the corona, we were walking in a place called Landstraße, and I was walking with Andre, and suddenly I hear a name in my head. And I tell Andre, Andre, I hear this name. Continue to walk, few more steps, and we see the name of one of the shops, carrying a shop with a name that I have heard 3 or 4 minutes before. So it is all the time. It is all the time. The question is, do we host? Because the speech of the soul is like heaven. It doesn't come with trumpets. It doesn't come with feast. You should, all those speeches of the body, of mind, of man, by force. You have to provide. You have to. No, the soul is completely different communication. And if we are during the day in a situation of something does not fit, or itchy or pushy, immediately, if we pay attention, there will be a higher source of communication, very loving, with no limitation of time, with no limitation of oppression or depression. It's very, very open. The question is simple. Do we let this in? We can decide whether to take it or not, but first to listen to it, because it's there all the time. And I would like to write now about the voice of the soul. I would like to write what is the voice of the soul. Bat kol. In Hebrew we say bat kol. 1 second. When the soul speaks. Bat kol. Daughter of a sound. Bat kol. Can you check it? Is it 5, 8, 3? Let's do it. This is bat. Daughter is 402. Kol is 136.
It's 53.8.
53.8.
Yes, 538. 538.
And 38. Thank you so much. Thank you. Does this number or the sequence of numbers remind you of something in a different order?
Messiah or Nahash. Messiah or Nahash.
Again.
Messiah or Nahash.
Messiah. Yes. Or Nahash, serpent. What else? What else?
Shekhinah.
Excellent. Shekhinah. Shekhinah, Safa, language. Yeah. So, what happens when we let this transparent voice inside of ourselves? If we let this voice in, we integrate this voice, we are enlarging our vessel, and the next time more communication will come. Yes, Venus, we could say that the voice of the soul is some people call it intuition. Yes, there's all the time. It's a transparent. It is a high and transparent speech. Always suggesting and loving, never enforcing. It is very directing. It is that sometimes during the day we move between moments and comes a speech. You have to do this. You have to do that. You have to. You should. This is not the voice of the soul. This is the voice of Pharaoh. Yes, that beats inside. You have to. You should. And so you did bad. People are aware of this speech. It is not pleasant. It's like beating inside of us.
And it is interesting, Eti, because when we stop to making this, you should do, that is a lie, I need to do this, otherwise Pharaoh will beat me, right?
Yeah.
If you do not do it, the situation almost solves for itself most of the time.
Yes.
I made this experience, especially in the familiar uh, uh, place, the role that you need to play, right? So when you stop, nothing change, everything's fine as well, the things go well. There is no need for it.
Yes. Sometimes we fall during the day to this perspective of we should, or it should have been different. There are many occasions during the day, the week, we think or a thought comes to us, it should have been different. This is also, it's like falling again into this wrong mindset. Everything is as it is, and it's just to stream with what there is. The speech of the soul is hovering above our head. In a way, it's almost, I would say, beyond. It's not so much in the body, it's a communication. So it is so gentle. It is the most loving speech here. Yes, Venus is writing, like a lover. Yes. But sometimes the power of the body, and I mean not the power of the body of the arms, the mind inside of ourselves is a body, is stronger. You made a wrong step, you made a wrong decision. Just to cut it, and you let this voice go into the cellar, and you let the Shekhinah or the soul come in, because the ego, call it the ego or the body of mind, and the Shekhinah, they cannot dwell in the same space. There's one seat. If the body of mind, you could, you made mistakes, criticism and so, sits, the Shekhinah or the Bat Kol cannot sit. There's no respect. But if we put this voice, let's say the bad angel or this voice aside, just this is not the time for you. I did not call critic here now. And there's a space, the soul will come because we respect. And many times, like this, the body of mind is like Amalek. We want to go out of Egypt, and then comes a war. The mind, it's a body, it's a matter, it fights. This is interesting. Questions from you.
No, it is beautiful, and it is not easy to maintain with the soul because it is difficult, you know. It is really not easy to make it. But just as Venus uh, said, it is like a lover, and when we read the ancient people uh, like Philon and others, when when these sages start to write, uh, usually they start to writing, speaking that this writing is for the beloved one, for the even the Greeks, you know, they speak about the muses, and they say that it is not from them. It is something that came from the muses or from the beloved. We can see in Dante as well, speaking about Beatrice, and and it is a relation of love. I think a relationship of
Yes,
love.
yes. Only love. Cannot be anything else. Only love. Because there is no interest. So it can be only love. Questions about Noah or any topic that interests you?
Eti,
Yeah.
just trying to put some things in order to me and regarding what the picture and the test that you bring to us, because I notes regarding the chapter 15, encounter of Abraham, the vision of Abraham. And I know could be a silly question, but when the Bible talk about this vision, for example, that the Lord came unto Abraham in a vision, this vision happens only inside of him, and this contact with God occurs inside of us is as how can I say, like this voice of the soul inside of us. It's not an external experience, but just an internal process.
Yes. Yes. The whole Bible, this is a very good question. The whole Bible is a book of communication. And God spoke to Abraham, and God spoke to Jacob, was seen in a dream. So this is this, and the Bible is basically a book that describe those encounters, that people were honest and true to tell, to share their experience. They were pure. I mean, this is not just a past form or just historical story. When we are clear and open, the communication comes all the time. Let's say here in this verse, who would like to read? We have like few verses. Who would like to read verses 1 to 6 from Genesis 15?
I can read it.
Thank
So, Bereshit 15. After these things, the word of the Lord came unto Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am thy shield, thy reward shall be exceeding great. And Abram said, O Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go hence childless? And he that shall be possessor of my house is Eliezer of Damascus. And Abram said, Behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is to buy mine heir. And behold, the word of the Lord came into him, saying, This man shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine all bowels shall be thine heir. And he brought him forth abroad, and said, Look now toward heaven, and count the stars, if thou be able to count them. And he said unto him, So shall thy seed be. And he believed in the Lord, and he counted it to him for righteousness.
you so much. The word is for to count the star. Count the stars, says the English and also the Hebrew, because we have here like Nikud, there are like, let's say, marks how to read, because the Torah is written without those marks, without those diacritic marks. וספור את הכוכבים. The English says count the stars. If we read those letters without the nikud, without those marks, how to vocalize the word, we just get the word, 1 second here, safar. This is to count, one way to count, but it's also to tell, like we tell a story, because this word also means a book. The value of Sefer is 340, like the value of the word Shem, which is the essence. So now the question is, how do we read the verse? Count the stars, or tell the stars or the stories if you can tell them? Because the star, Kochav, star, has a value of 48, like moach, like mind. So, could you tell or call the names of the stars or the unborn mind or thoughts in yourself? Can we do this? Can we count or tell the unborn thoughts that will come to us in the future? Can we do this? Is it possible for
E.T.
yes.
No, just and what does it mean, the star? I was thinking, right? Because Kohav we can divide into two words,
Yes.
but I'm thinking in numbers.
Yes.
Kaf Vav, that is 26,
Yes.
that is Hashem,
Yes.
and the Kaf Bet, that is 22, the 22 letters.
Yes.
Uh, I was just thinking that to count the stars is to count the letters to find the name,
Yes.
but I do not want to close the symbol. It is like to be in relationship with what comes, right? To try to find the meaning. This
Yes.
is me.
Can you tell the this what does it mean? Can you count the stars? Can you tell the stories of the hidden, the Kaf the 26, which is being revealed through the 22, through the Kaf Bet? Can you tell? Can you define the essence of the hidden being shown in the manifested?
It's impossible because it's infinite.
This is it. This is interesting speech because you take a person at one moment in a day and ask him, can you tell or count the hidden? Can even you describe the hidden which will be manifest through the nobody can do it. Nobody. It's impossible. This is interesting because Abraham came from a background of astronomy. From everything was counted. If we think that we are farming data, the ancient people were farming not less. But this is a very good speech to those who believe in farming data and following and making conclusions only from numbers. This is impossible. We cannot tell or count or describe how the hidden will be manifest. How the hidden will be manifest, this is the word for a star in Hebrew. In ourselves and in others. We don't know how the next moment of our lives will be manifested in our hearts. First of all, we don't know. Questions?
T,
Yes.
just to mention, I don't know if it makes sense, but just to share, I don't know if I'm right, but in this verse 5, two words uh, as written, se for a Ravim,
Yes.
if we add these two words, the Vav and the Hey and the plural of star, we get the 449. As the Kolel, we have 450,
Yes.
which is Adam, or 10 times Adam,
Yes.
humanity.
True.
The, as the infinite of the
Infinite.
Adam.
Yes.
Yes.
449. Yes?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Excellent.
We know the Adam Kadmon itself, all the all the creation, the universe, humanity. Just to share. Thank you very much.
It is beautiful. Thank you so much. Fernando, Felipe, questions? Venus?
We can look at the painting, maybe.
Yes, of course. Thank you. What do we see here?
I believe that Abraham and God, and there is some angels, and God pointed to the stars. I believe it. You can see the back of Abraham, the finger of God pointing to the stars, and two cherubims around God.
This is beautiful because we see Abraham, like you see Abraham's hand, left hand is holding a door, because the Bible says, and he took him out. Yes? Verse 5, ויוצא אותו החוצה, and he brought him forth abroad or out. This is not just out of the house, but out of his current mindset. When we have a certain mindset, it is like we are locked. It's like a box. So he took him out, not from his house or the cabinet or the room that he was dwelling, but out of his current mindset, and show him the next stage. Because the mindset is like a house, it is like a box. A person with his mindset is like a sardine in a box. He's closed from all directions. He took him out. It is very important that why those conversations are so important, because whenever we converse, we go, each and every one of us meet the other one ask or say something. So this conversation takes all of us from our mindset at the moment of the beginning, and we move out to meet the other. This is a very important. Always to go out, because the tendency is to retreat to one's own mind. So we always practice to go out to the
And
next
see,
thing. Yes.
this
Yes.
verb to go out is the same verb of go out of Egypt, the going out of Egypt.
Yes. 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 Here it is. ויוצא אותו החוצה. Yes. 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 Exodus, יציאת מצרים. צא. צא. The verb is צא, 91. צא, 91. Like angel. צא. To go out, it's 91. Like angel, like a man, and so. Like Ilan, this is a tree. Not just this, 91 is the number of days in every season. We have 4 seasons. Yes, we have 4 seasons. In every season there is 91 days. So we have 364 plus 1, we have 365. Taking out.
This taking out would mean the, how can I say, the awareness, or something like that.
Yes. The conversation is like refreshing all the time the mindset. Conversations are always refreshing our mindset, updating our perspective. When a person has a phone or a computer, after a few minutes, days, there's an update running in the background. And they ask you, would you like to do it now or later? And so update, always to update, to walk, to take a walk in nature, like Fernando mentioned, to go out of ourselves.
And it's interesting, just looking the word, the verb se is going out.
Yes,
You see the letter, the tzad, it could be associated with the tzaddik,
yes,
righteous, and the
yes,
aleph, of course, the hidden. Um,
yes, yes, yes. When the tzaddik, when the righteous go for the aleph, this is tze. Yes,
yes.
go out of time because tzadi, the value of tzadi is 90. Yes, go meet the one, go from time.
A righteous going to the one, someone who already, how can I say, a virtuous man, someone who read rectify itself or something like that, someone pure, with a pure heart.
Yes,
Don't know if it makes sense that you just share it.
it's excellent. Please, it is excellent. Fernando, Felipe, questions? Venus?
Hello, hello, Betty and
Hello, Felipe.
friends.
Hello.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Just thinking about this number 91 and the proper numbers 9 and 1. They form also the number 10. If we add 1 to 9, we have the tree of life or the 10 spheres.
Yes.
And also it made me think about the 10th part of the I mean when we have 10, the one is like it's like the spirit in this 10 spheres. I don't know if I
Yes.
can express myself properly,
Yes.
but it's like the decimum. I don't remember the word in English. The
Yes.
10th part.
The heavenly kingdom. Yes.
Yes.
The heavenly kingdom. Yes, excellent. 9 and 1, they form. Yes, very good. Yes, and from Keter to Yesod, this is 9 plus the heavenly kingdom. We have 10. Yes.
See,
Yes.
now listen, Felipe came to my mind. How can I say, a very creative perspective and way of thinking. I don't know if it makes sense, but I just to share when he mentioned the 9 and the 1 that made the 10. I remember that if we get the feeling of the number 9, for example, if we add 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5
Yes.
plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9, we get the number 45, which is Adam. And so here we get the Adam plus the 1.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much for coming here today.
Yes. No, just to mention that the human going the in the direction to God,
Yes.
human, just to mention. Thank you very much, Etienne. Thank you very much, Felipe.
Thank you so much. Fernando, would you like to say something?
Just want to thank you so much. It was beautiful, and thank you, Rodrigo and Felipe and Venus and all the friends in YouTube as well.
Thank you so much.
I think that Venus has a. I was looking here. Venus
Yes.
has a question, and it is on the comment. What about the engrams? Do they not contribute to the manifested to come?
I mean, anagram, they can, what happens with anagram is that we can map words, and like we make dictionaries. Some people do this, and when something happens, so we can relate to it in this frame. Yes, but clearly, I mean, we could have like we have like an inventory of words and anagrams, but to say clearly and specifically, this nobody can say. No one can say. This is an open system. Life is an open system. We have like navigation system that the ancient people were kind enough to share with us. So we have this navigation system, but to say specifically, no, never, because it's open. It is changed while we speak. Thank you so much for coming here today. I would like to wish you a very beautiful week, and I shall be happy to meet you here on Thursday. Thank you so much, and wonderful life ahead.
Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Yes, thank
friends.
you, Fernando, everybody. Thank you, and see you on Thursday. Thank you very much. Shalom,
See
shalom.
you on Thursday.
Thank you.
Shalom,
Bye
shalom.
bye.
Thank you. Shalom, shalom.